Hello. That was a lot. My breath control is nowhere where it used to be. Near where it used to be.
You better
Like
get on
forever
that.
ago. Okay, hold
Keep
on.
practicing.
Let me practice right
It's
now.
gonna be good as mine. This is perfect podcast content.
You want to have a breath holding contest on our podcast? Oh, I forgot to tell. Oh, hello everyone. I guess we have to greet you.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi. Where you been? How's your mama? Silly goofy Sam. I'm sitting up very straight. God, I gotta stop.
No, you don't.
Okay. I wanted to tell you I've snapped you quite a few times about how obsessed I am with the video game I'm playing.
Yeah.
Did I tell you which one it is?
You might have, but I don't remember.
Hopefully I don't get any hate for this because I used to not hate, but like I didn't like the game. I wouldn't hate people who played it because I don't yuck other people's yums. But Megan got me into Fortnite because a lot of her friends at work play it, and her brother and his best friend. So she was like, "You should get it so we can all play together." I was like, "Okay." So I got it, and I am thoroughly addicted to playing zero builds because originally when Fortnite came out, the game was you had to like be in a team or by yourself and eliminate the other opponents, but while you did it you could build like little structures to hide behind or climb up. And I tried it when it first came out with my nephew. I couldn't build shit, and like I was dying so fast because I can't do both things. Like it's different buttons on the controller, but it was just too distracting, so I gave up. And now they have zero build mode, which means I can just focus on one thing at a time, and it's so fun. Especially like if I play with Meg or if we play in a group, it's like we all get to like work together and win, and like you find little like golden chests full of stuff and loot them, and it's like I don't know, it's really fun.
The only
And I've been
game
playing it
that
way
I
too
play
much.
the only game I play is Lego Harry Potter.
Lego Harry Potter, yes. Which I should start playing with you.
You should. It's really fun.
Cause they have a Lego Fortnite.
Yeah.
It's fun. I don't play that as much, but because I'm a little impatient with all the building. It's like click, 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 click. I just want to run around and find stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't want to like shoot characters. I don't want to say people because I don't see them as people. I see them as like characters in the game. But all of that to say, I was playing earlier and I was like, oh, I have to get off after this match because I got to go get ready to record my podcast with my best friend. And my friend's brother was like, you have a podcast? I was like, yeah. He's like, that's cool. I was like, it's called Educate Me, Papa. And he cracked up, but he loved it. I was like, yes. Thank you. Yes, Educate Me, Papa. So, all of that about Fortnite just to tell you, we got a thumbs up.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. We got a crown. If you know, you know. I gotta stop playing with my eyeballs. I'm probably gonna freak people out.
You're freaking me out.
Like that fish? Oh, people don't know that joke yet.
What?
Remember you in the last episode we recorded, you said that fish Patrick caught you disturbed you?
Oh.
But that episode isn't out yet.
I don't know if it ever will be.
That's okay. It was fun. But we can sit on it. And people will understand, but
yeah. Well, my brother-in-law, I'll just tell the story now just in case, but I was just in Florida for my mom's wedding, and my brother-in-law was fishing in my mom's backyard, and he caught this fish that was like the biggest fish I've ever seen up close alive still. And I told the story on this episode we recorded, and I said I was disturbed by it when I first saw it. And I was, because I was it. Yeah, and I was disturbed because I was watching it slowly die on the sidewalk. So I just like walked away, but yeah.
But the way she said it, she goes, "It was so big and it was just like there and he just held it or something." And you were like, "And I was just disturbed. I was disturbed." And I was like,
Fish are
I was
weird.
so confused, but I understood what she meant once she said like because it was like a fish out of water, like on the sidewalk, like gasping
Yeah.
for hachtois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it was really funny to me, so yeah. Maybe we'll just make a clip of that.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe we'll
Well, how you doing?
how are
What
you?
up?
Oh, we both said the same thing. I do pretty good. I was off. It's Friday today. I was off for Easter holiday after a very long, stressful week, which is going to bleed into next week. Lots going on at work. I have to go in the office and be in a big meeting with like a ton of like the leads of different departments and like the executives and the CEO is going to be asking us questions. And I'm ready, but I'm not. I'm very nervous.
You got it. You got this.
That's everyone says that, but like
You do
I
though.
just get I have this thing with like authority figures. I think it stems from childhood trauma where A, I just get nervous so I misspeak, and B, I don't want to sound like an idiot, and C, if they look me in the eyes too hard, I look them in the eyes too hard and then my eyes start watering and it looks like I'm crying.
You just
And
start sobbing.
he's so nice and I'm just looking at him and tears just start rolling down my face and I'll just be like, "It's dusty in here." BRB and then go cry in the bathroom from not crying. But yeah, how you do? What up? How was work?
Uh,
How's your
Work was good.
dogs?
Today was a good day. Um,
That's good.
I I appreciate being able to take those 2 weeks off. It was good. I'm feeling better.
Good.
I'm not gonna touch. I'm not gonna talk too much about what has been going on, but I am going through a breakup at the moment, and Sam, you're aware. Um,
I just gasp and I'm like, why didn't you tell
yeah.
me?
um, there's no hard feelings between us, and I'm very thankful for the relationship, but it's still very sad, and I'm dealing with that still. So, yeah.
Yeah. But you're going to get through and keep on keeping on. And it's the right thing. And this is a message, I guess, to everyone. I've told Haley this before too, but sometimes the right thing hurts the most
Yeah.
because it change is difficult. But I have a
Yeah.
tattoo on my ankle of 3 little triangles. They're called glyphs. I found them on some site. I don't even know. I can post a picture. But the bottom one is challenge, the middle one is change, and the top one is transcendence. And I just think of it as the challenges I go through may cause change, but I will rise above. And I think that that just makes you stronger in the end and proves
Hmm.
to you that you can do anything.
Yeah. Um, it is definitely the right thing, but I am still very thankful. Well, I think I will always be very thankful for the relationship because it was really healing in a lot of ways, and he's like one of the best people I know, and I would love to
Mhm.
remain friends with him. We'll see if that happens. I really hope that can happen, because I want the best for him, and he feels the
Yeah.
same way for me. So it's all
That's
good
really
things.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes people can be really good friends and like be really good people genuinely, just not compatible for a relationship. And that's okay.
Right. Right. It is. It is okay. It is okay. Yes.
Yes.
It's a natural thing that may happen sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yes.
Well, let's change the subject before I start
Okay,
crying.
that's why I stopped talking about it because I could hear it in your voice.
Yeah.
Pickles.
Pickles.
You just said change the subject, and that was literally the first thing that came to my mind, and it made you laugh. So successful.
Have you
Ding.
watched the Quiet on Set documentary?
No, I fucking need to. I think you asked me this. Megan started it, and she didn't get very
Oh
far into
yeah.
it. I have to ask her if she wants to watch it with me or if she cares if I watch it on my own. Because if she
It's
already started it
really,
and is like into it,
yeah, it's super disturbing, but very informative. You said pickles, and it reminded me of that because I don't know if you remember on I think it was the Amanda Show, it was like the Pickle Boy or something. Do you remember that
Yes, you just
character?
pulled
Who
that memory out of the archives.
that guy was like a pedophile and like assaulted
Oh
a child
God.
actor.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
want to watch that to know
watch it.
more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to stop playing Fortnite and actually watch a show for once.
Yeah.
But
But anywho,
and I was gonna ask you, I saw a post on Facebook today. I have not confirmed or denied that Gypsy Rose is divorcing her husband.
I've seen that too. I don't know if it's true or not. Apparently she shared it on Facebook, but I don't know.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean, whatever. To each their own. She was in jail for so long. She needs to
Yeah.
explore her life. Maybe he was there for a season, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and
That's totally fine, but
the post I saw said that she moved in with her parents, like her dad and her stepmom, so that could be really good for her because I know
it's
he
so
was
healing.
like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I
Sorry, I
wish
didn't
the
mean to
best
interrupt
for
you.
her. No, you're good.
Me too. We talked about this at length, and I won't go too far into it or try not to, but regardless of what she did, she was a she was a child even though she was not. She was made to feel like she
Mhm.
was one, and she was in a horrendous situation, and she
Yeah.
deserves a second chance to learn what life is really about.
Yep. I agree.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Never. Belch
Hey, I have a
me, Papa.
question. I have a question for you.
I might have an answer.
What are you gonna educate us on this week?
Well, I don't know. This is one I've been waiting for. I'm going to say you've all been waiting for it too, because in my head you have. Today, I am going to be educating us on ADHD, my best and worst friend, the little monster that lives inside of my cerebellum. I don't know if it's the cerebellum specifically, but that's the first brain anatomy word that came to my mind. That takes over my cranium every single day. This is something I was recently diagnosed with. Of course, I have ADHD, so I can't remember. I'd say a year and a half or so ago. So I was diagnosed as an adult, and I was the type of child who was the golden child, overachiever, people pleaser, which I'll go into more the different types of ADHD, but I have the inattentive type, whereas a lot of people recognize ADHD as the hyperactive type, where it's like can't sit still, bouncing off the walls, blah, blah, blah. Now, can I sit still? No, because physically I'm uncomfortable a lot of the time, but that also can relate to the actual ADHD because of the way that we like always sit and stuff.
Mhm.
But I think it's something I always struggled with, but it wasn't recognized, especially A, because I was assigned female at birth and identify as a woman, and because I wasn't being disruptive. I mean, I talked a lot, but I tried to really behave well in school and at home. Um, but I just also was that overachiever type. But I think it was like I was driving myself and I was always doing something. I was always hanging out with people, doing after school activities, like doing everything that I could. And I think that was helping me with my ADHD. And I also was a swimmer. And I think exercise helped me like get some of those good endorphins. Swimming is very enjoyable to me this day. So it was feeding me that dopamine that
Mhm.
you need, and ADHD is largely caused by that lack of dopamine. And there were things I was doing to take care of it. And then as I became an adult and started dealing with heavier things in my early teen years and then into my adulthood, it just became so debilitating because I had responsibilities that were all mine and I didn't have my parents to like do those things. So, one of the biggest things that I struggle with personally is cleaning. A lot of people with ADHD um catastrophize things and also like explode tasks is how I like to say it. So before I was taking meds, if I had to do the dishes, it turned into walk into the kitchen, go to start putting the clean dishes away, Oh, there's a dirty towel out here. I need a new one. Puts the dirty towel in the wash. Oh shit, the wash needs started. Is there stuff in the dryer? Wait a minute. Let me go upstairs and get more laundry. Go in the bathroom to get the laundry. Oh, the bathroom's dirty. Let me start that. So I was doing a lot of different things, but not completing any of them because I was distracted. And then also because doing the dishes when I was growing up meant you empty the dishwasher, put all the clean dishes away, put the dirty dishes from the sink in the dishwasher, hand wash anything you need to, and then make sure that the counters are wiped down, the floors are swept. It those tasks became it's like that was ingrained in me, but also my ADHD automatically made it so doing the dishes was actually 10 different tasks, which becomes
Mhm.
extremely overwhelming. And that's
Yeah.
something that's carried on. But now, when all of that is my responsibility as an adult, it became even more debilitating. And I have always had what I call toilet thoughts. I would start here and then just spiral, and I would not be able to find my way back to where it started. And it was bothering my sleep. I wasn't able to communicate these things because it didn't make any sense to anyone else. There's just a lot of different things that were inside that no one would have known unless I said something. And also
Right.
because I kind of wasn't allowed to say something for a long time and was also too afraid to because no one ever believed me when I had feelings as a child, anyways,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about my experience with ADHD thus far. I'm sure I'll have more when we go into it, but I know. So, Haley, you were diagnosed as a kid, correct?
Yes. Yep. In
Tell
middle
me
school.
more about how it affected you back then versus how you think it affects you now and like what you do because of it and also kind of to help it.
Well, I mean, I don't think I really understood what it was when I was diagnosed with it, and I was on medication, but again, I don't really know. Like back then, I just didn't really understand what was going on, and
Mhm.
it was kind of like every time I had an emotional outburst, my medication was upped, which was kind of weird. Um, that's all I can really remember, but I haven't been medicated for a long time, and it's kind of like just affects my memory for sure. And I also get distracted. Like at work, I don't really like I have a really good routine, but it's kind of the same thing you described where like if I go to do one thing, I just end up on the complete opposite side of the house doing something completely different and just totally
Mhm.
forget about the other thing.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard with those emotional outbursts because especially as kids, in my personal opinion, I don't think that kids with ADHD should be medicated except in extreme cases. So some
Yeah.
people with ADHD do have the hyperactivity, which can also turn into violent outbursts. It's like, especially for kids, because kids don't know what their emotions mean or how to regulate them if they're not taught, which most of us weren't. I think a lot of parents now are starting to teach their kids, like, hey, okay, you're upset about something, so you want to throw things. Let's go outside and throw a rock into the yard, or you can throw your pillow at the ground, or you can hit your pillow. Like safe ways of letting those feelings out physically. But we didn't have that. We're both assigned female at birth women who weren't supposed to show anything other than like happiness or like kind of like be seen, not heard type thing.
Yeah. Like conform
And
to the
right.
household.
Mhm. So instead of seeing what the problem was, that was okay, you're already on meds. Why are you upset right now? Is it your meds or is it something else that's going on? And I think probably 9 times out of 10 it was something else that was going on.
Yeah. I would say
Yeah.
so because the medication just made me like feel sick when I was
Mhm.
younger. I didn't
And I
like it.
think that it does zombify a lot of kids because of the way that our bodies are developing and also how they metabolize different medications at different times. And I
Mhm.
think it's kind of hard, like, if a kid is diabetic, obviously they have to take their medicine or their insulin, whatever. But with certain mental health things, it's hard because they don't really have a choice and it's an
Yeah.
autonomy thing. And to them, like they're just normal. They're just a kid. That's just who they are. But it's like, we're not trying to change who you are. We just want you to be able to sit still in school so you can get an education. We want you to not have outbursts or basically not be a kid. And like I said, in extreme cases and in like it depends. It's like person to person. But I think I know too many kids who, just because they were quote unquote disruptive, were medicated instead of taking them and putting them in other things that either grabbed their attention and fulfilled them or got their energy out, especially young boys. Like, it doesn't have to be sports. It could be an art class where you get to throw paint, or it could be a sport, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't have to be gendered or like, oh, you should play sports because this. It's just something else to let that out because there's so much energy there. It doesn't have anywhere to go. So, what does
Mm-hmm.
it turn into? Disruption, violence, outbursts, all that fun stuff. That's just I just wanted to share my experience, and I also know yours a lot, but wanted to hear more, and
Yeah.
thanks for sharing.
No prob.
Yes, but speaking of ADHD, from two
Let's get back
ADHD
to it.
bitches to probably many others. So, what is ADHD? ADHD is a shortened term, an acronym for attention deficit slash hyperactivity disorder. It is marked by an ongoing pattern of inattention and or hyperactivity impulsivity that interferes with functioning or development. So a lot of people, especially young boys, were actually originally diagnosed with ADHD, where young women would be diagnosed with ADD. So ADD was attention deficit disorder, and it didn't
Mm-hmm.
include the hyperactivity. Now ADHD is a blanket term for all of it. No, you should not any longer be diagnosed with ADD. It's been removed from the DSM-5 because it's a term for everyone, and even if it's not physically external hyperactivity, it's internal. So like with my spiraling toilet thoughts, or my brain literally just constantly running like it's a train with coal, like someone scooping coal in it, but there's no track.
Right.
So I'm hyperactive just in here and right here. This that's why we have a podcast. Um, so ADHD is considered a chronic and debilitating disorder and is known to impact the nope is known to impact the individual in many aspects of their life, including academic and professional achievements, interpersonal relationships, and daily functioning. ADHD can lead to poor self-esteem and social function in children when not appropriately treated. Oh my god, no wonder I
Ooh.
fucking hate myself. Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Yeah.
Adults with ADHD may experience poor self-worth.
Oh,
Sensitivity
check.
towards criticism. Hmm.
Check.
Hmm. Didn't I just literally say that my eyes water when people of authority talk to me seriously and look me in my eyes? Um,
I cry every day at work.
yeah. Luckily, I work from home, so I work. Did I say work from home or work? I work
I work from
because I
home.
was. It's because I was thinking work and look at the same time. Mm-mm. Adults with ADHD, Mary. Mary. Oh no, it's starting.
We
Also,
got the
people saying
giggles.
words wrong is one of my favorite forms of humor. So when I do it myself, it's like debilitating. Okay. Adults with ADHD may experience poor self worth, sensitivity towards criticism, and increased self criticism, possibly stemming from higher levels of criticism throughout life. Surprise. So
Check.
we're already criticizing the fuck out of ourselves. Thank you for more criticism.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes.
Mom. No.
Dad, mom, every person I've ever met. Haley, no, I'm just
Love
kidding.
you.
Haley knows
Your
to set her
biggest critic.
expectations low with me. What causes ADHD? Researchers aren't sure what causes ADHD, although many studies suggest that genes play a large role. Like many other disorders, ADHD probably results from a combination of factors. And in addition to genetics, researchers are looking at possible environmental factors that might raise the risk of developing ADHD and are studying how brain injuries, nutrition, and social environments may play a role in the development of ADHD. So, I think that probably a lot of people are born with it, and then it's either can kind of sit dormant depending on your environment, or it can be like triggered by the environment.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I really do think that if like I think I've had ADHD my whole life, but I think that it was kind of like activated, or the catalyst was when things in my childhood and my home life started to get really chaotic, and my brain was
Mhm.
just so overloaded that it like kicked in, and just that's when I started seeing that decline in performance and like functionality and enjoyment of things that I used to enjoy so much.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, what are some symptoms of people with ADHD? People with ADHD experience an ongoing pattern of the following types of symptoms. So, inattention.
I'm gonna keep track.
Okay. Inattention. This means a person may have difficulty staying on task, sustaining focus, and staying organized. And these problems are not due to defiance or lack of comprehension. People with symptoms of inattention may often overlook or miss details and make seemingly careless mistakes in schoolwork, at work, or during other activities. Have difficulty sustaining attention during play or tasks such as conversations, lectures, or lengthy reading. Have difficulty sustaining attention. Oh, I read that one already. Not seem to listen when spoken to directly. Find it hard to follow through on instructions or finish schoolwork, chores, or duties in the workplace, or may start tasks but lose focus and get easily sidetracked. If I have if you give me instructions on something, you either have to write them down or let me go get a piece of paper and a pen, because I will fucking forget. The
Yep, I
amount of
will
notes I have in my life are everywhere.
immediately.
Mhm. Yeah. Whoosh, fly away, little bird.
Yep.
Yep. Avoid tasks that require sustained mental effort, such as homework, or for teens and older adults, preparing reports, completing forms, or reviewing lengthy papers. Not that I do. Well, no, I do, because I do a lot of like Excel, Microsoft, different tasks at work. Lose things necessary for tasks or activities, such as school supplies, pencils, books, tools, wallets, keys, paperwork, eyeglasses, and cell phones. Yeah, should I put my other hand up?
However you
I'm
wanna
gonna
do
count. I'm
it.
gonna do it both. I'm gonna do it like keep going.
Okay.
So that was the inattentive portion of ADHD. Now we're gonna go over hyperactivity impulsivity. Hyperactivity means a person may seem to move about constantly, including in situations when it is not appropriate, or excessively fidget, tap, or talk. In adults, hyperactivity may mean extreme restlessness or talking too much. Do I put another finger down for talking? People with symptoms of hyperactivity impulsivity may often fidget and squirm while seated, leave their seats in situations when staying seated is expected, such as in the classroom or the office. Um, I have learned not to do this, but if I have to pee, I get up,
Uh-huh.
but I feel really weird about it. Run, dash around, or climb at inappropriate times, or in teens and adults, often feel restless. So I feel restless literally all the time. It's like I want to do something, but like physically I want to get up and move, but I just mentally cannot, or the opposite. Like I physically
Uh-huh.
cannot, but I mentally want to. I frequently get the urge to just like sprint, but I
I do
can't.
too.
Or like I wish I could do a cartwheel because you know how many times I've had the urge to just I see a field and I'm like, I just want to cartwheel through that field
Yep.
or
Yep.
do back handsprings or like something. I think that maybe that's why I like Fortnite because you can jump and run a lot.
Fun. I want to play.
And there's wings.
I can
You
fly.
can get wings. Yes, it's so fun. Um be unable to play or engage in hobbies quietly. More when I was a kid. Now I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Be constantly in motion or on the go or act as if driven by a motor. I would say in certain
Yeah.
circumstances, I definitely am. Talk excessively. That's the third finger for talking. Um, answer questions before they are fully asked. Finish other people's sentences or speak without waiting for a turn in conversation.
I've done that. We do that all the time. There is a lag
Literally.
here, but like even in person, we do that.
And yeah, because I'm gonna fucking forget what I wanted to say if we get too far into this conversation.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
called cooperative overlap. It's a form of
Uh-huh.
communication. It's a communication style, and I will talk about that someday too. Have difficulty waiting one's turn. I'm not good at taking turns. Like, hurry the fuck up. I want to go. And especially when people are slow at taking their turn.
Yeah, that's irritating.
Like, are you going slow so I can't get to my turn? Because that's not nice. Um, interrupt or intrude on others, for example, in conversations, games, or activities. So that was like 19 fingers for me. Um, I don't have that many fingers. Okay, and then there's another one. So impulsivity means did I already talk about this one? No. Impulsivity means a person may act without thinking or have difficulty with self-control. Impulsivity could also include a desire for immediate rewards. Let me just put them all up. Or the
Mhm.
inability to delay gratification. An impulsive person may interrupt others or make important decisions without considering long-term consequences.
Me.
Yeah. Now,
Hi.
I will say I've gotten a lot better at impulsivity when it comes to like big decisions, like big, really big ones. But I will say that like this laptop, I've wanted a Mac for forever.
Uh-huh.
I looked at one, almost bought it, and then 2 days later bought it, but I didn't have it shipped to me. I went and picked it up at the closest store because I couldn't wait for shipping. I wanted to
Yep.
drive and pick it up that day. Like,
Yep.
I want it now. Call me Sharpay Evans. I want it now. People can also be diagnosed with a combined type ADHD where they may meet criteria for both inattentive and hyperactive impulsive types. I was not like given a specific one. He said it sounds more inattentive, but if I were to evaluate myself because I only talk with my like therapist for like half an hour, I would say it's both. Like I just put so many fingers down. That's official,
Yeah.
right?
I'll diagnose you. I have
How
the
many people am I
certification.
diagnosing? I have my certification of being an ADHD bitch, so.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, speaking of diagnosis, we'll talk more about that later. Um, you can have these experiences and they may not cause you trouble, but if you're sitting here thinking like, "Oh yeah, I went through that when I was a kid. Oh yeah, this has happened to me." First of all, self diagnosis is extremely valid because people don't have access to all the same things. I'm very lucky that I found my counselor by like accident and ended up continuing to going with him because I went just for a simple evaluation for a surgery I was going to have and did not end up having, but I loved him. So I stayed with
Mhm.
him. And as I've talked to him more, and he adjusted my meds and he's like, okay, well, if that's doing better, but you're having like these spiral toilet thoughts that you're telling me about, that sounds like ADHD to me. And I was like, really? Because I've been contemplating if I had that for a long time, but I was afraid to say something. And basically he confirmed that yes, you probably do. And then we tried the meds, and because they help so much, we were like, holy shit, this makes so much sense. I was very lucky to have all of that. Not everyone does. Not everyone has the confidence to go. Not everyone has the money resources or the local resources of a physician who's actually going to diagnose you, because a lot of people refuse to because they're fucking idiots. But
Yeah.
self diagnosis is very valid. Self medicating with prescription meds or drugs, please don't. There's other
No.
things you can do. There's a ton of stuff. I have other information later, but self diagnosis is very valid for this type of thing, not like medical, like physical body medical diseases. Like, don't say you have a thyroid problem without going to the doctor. But
Right.
if you are thinking this, if you can talk to someone, do it. But if you want to self diagnose and then age your life differently and it makes your life better without hurting anyone else, why the fuck not?
Yeah,
You know?
I agree.
So, um, one of the biggest things that happens to people with ADHD is something called executive dysfunction, which is also ED, but not erectile dysfunction, executive dysfunction. It is the biggest bitch in my life. I experience it all the time. It's gotten much better since I've been medicated and since I've been like dealing with my life differently. But there are days when my executive dysfunction takes over and there's nothing I can do about it because
Hmm.
of what it is. So, do you ever experience that?
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't it the worst?
It is.
Like just fighting with myself internally. I mean, it's like, can we just stop and just either do it or leave me alone about it, brain?
Yep.
But that's
Yep. Yep.
doesn't happen. Yep. Okay. So, the symptoms of ADHD revolve around an issue called executive dysfunction. Executive functions help you manage focus, concentration, emotional regulation, impulse control, and self-motivation. Executive dysfunction is a behavioral symptom that disrupts a person's ability to manage their own thoughts, emotions, and actions. So many people with ADHD get labeled as lazy or unmotivated. That is never the fucking, I won't say never because I'm sure you can have both, but I would say 9.5 times out of 10, that's not the case. It's that they physically and mentally are unable to do the thing.
In my experience, like especially in childhood and like young adult years, anytime I can remember being called lazy, I was dealing with something mentally and I just could not get out of that to go do what I was being asked to do, you know?
Right. And it
It
kind of
wasn't
relates
just
to
that I
that
didn't want to do
thing.
it. It was I was just dealing with so many other things at the time that I couldn't focus on that other thing.
Right. Well, and you were unable to. I think it's like when they're in, let's say for the in the job world, for example, when someone says that they're a carpenter or they work construction and then their partner works an office job as a secretary or even as like an exec or whatever. That person who does the physical labor, if they say they're tired, they're never judged for that. Oh, you've been
Yeah,
working and physically doing it all day. The people who do the non-physical labor, it's like, well, you just sat behind a desk all day. You just worked on the computer all day.
that's still
They are
tiring.
different types of exhaustion. Mental
Yeah,
exhaustion is extremely difficult to deal with, and
yeah,
we don't want it. You can have it. I would rather not feel this exhaustion all the time and be able to do things, but you can't. So with like the laziness and stuff, it's literally like you're sitting there mentally exhausting yourself to the point where you can't do it because you're just so tired.
yeah.
And for me, especially when I was a kid, like this needs to be done before mom and dad get home. Well, I'm doing that in the last 30 minutes before mom and dad get home because in those last 30 minutes my fear of getting in trouble is more extreme than my executive dysfunction.
Yep.
That's like impending deadlines and procrastination save me on so many occasions because I can
Hmm.
actually get things done because of the pressure.
Yeah. I
You know what
think
I mean?
that something that I noticed about our editing style, I don't know if that's like ties in or not, but usually I'll edit for like a little bit every day going up to when it needs to come out, and usually you will do it like the night before.
Mhm. Yeah, either some I and the thing is I try to start it, like, I will do, like, half an hour on, like, say, a Monday and then finish it on Tuesday, but I can focus better when I know that it needs to be done. It needs to be a start to end task. Like,
Right.
that's why I'm not good at cleaning, because cleaning is a repetitive task. There is no end to it. It feels
Yeah.
very hopeless to me. Editing an episode, if I do it in too many parts, it's like, "Holy shit, this isn't done yet." Also, I can't remember what I've already done. Where am I? What's happening? Like, what is going on? If I sit and do it and take an hour or 2 to edit the whole episode, I'm more efficient at it and also more creative because that's what I need to do. That's my
Yeah.
task for that time period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I eventually do have to get episodes edited for the future when I'm, go out of town for my birthday or when we're doing the stuff for my mom's health, I'm going to have to force myself to sit down, but it's going to be one night. Like one day I'll do one episode, the next day I'll do the next one
Yeah.
because that's just how it works. That is funny though.
Yep.
It's more like you feel better not sitting and focusing on something for so long. You want it in doses and I'm like, "No, I have to just get it done because it's due tomorrow."
Well, it's like unless well, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I really enjoy editing and I enjoy the podcast, but if I sit and do it for 3 hours, I get really distracted really easily, and I
Mhm.
feel like I don't put my full attention into it. So,
Yeah.
that's kinda
And
why I
seeing
do it.
that and that's funny because it's like 2 ends of the spectrum of ADHD. If I know that I don't have to have it done tomorrow or it's not due, quote unquote, today or whatever, my brain's wandering thinking about other things I could be using
Yeah.
my time for. Not that it's not the most important thing because it's very important. It's just my brain's like, you could be,
Yeah.
crocheting or you could be doing
Playing
something.
Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly. You could be doing something that my brain sees as like bringing dopamine, where
Yeah.
as editing the night before because of that pressure, and also I do genuinely enjoy it and like re-listening to our shit and making clips to send to you of stuff that might not make it on the episode is very enjoyable, but just the physically doing it, I need that
Yeah.
like pending doom almost.
Yep. I gotcha.
Thanks. I got you. Okay, so there are three main executive functions: working memory, cognitive flexibility, and inhibition control. Working memory is the kind of memory that involves whatever you're doing right now. If you're reading, taking notes, or having a conversation, then your working memory is part of the process. Cognitive flexibility, also known as fluid or flexible thinking, refers to how well your brain can shift and move from one topic to another. My brain is extremely flexible in one direction. I will flex to that other topic and the rest of it's just gone. That working memory for me, like if I'm being cognitively flexible, is just they don't work together.
Mhm.
I have to like backtrack like what brought me onto this topic? Oh, it was that. What brought up that? Like and a lot of the
Yep.
time I cannot get back to the beginning.
Yep.
It's
That
like
happens a lot.
when Hansel and Gretel left a trail of breadcrumbs. There's some little duck behind me eating all of them. That's a really cute analogy. Someone
That
make
is
that.
cute. Another children's book.
Yeah. Bitch, we need to really like follow through on these ideas because they're fantastic.
Yes.
Okay. We'll try to remember. Shit. I could be so successful if I didn't have a brain made of soup.
Oh, what kind of soup?
Good soup. I know what kind of soup your brain's made of.
Chowder? Corn chowder?
Corn chowder. Yep. Mine would probably be like sausage gumbo or like chili mac and cheese, which isn't really a soup, but I buy it in a can from a soup
That
company,
sounds
so
so good.
it's so good. So good. Um, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So the more flexible you're thinking, the better you can adapt to whatever is happening around you. I've always been really good at adapting to certain situations. I got better when I was older. When I was a kid, change was very hard. But like emergency situations, I can just snap into it. If I'm drinking and someone else is more drunk than me, or I need to like play the take the caregiver, the solver role, instantly I'm in that role. It's not hard for me
Yeah.
to do. I feel like you're
Yeah,
the same way.
definitely.
Yeah,
It kind of came out a lot when we were having those parties in high school and after high school because
that's
I was like
exactly what I
protecting
was
the
thinking
house
of.
as well. But like as soon as I heard some loud noise or something, I was like, what the fuck is happening? I need to go into
Right.
protector mode.
Who do I need to pick up off of the sidewalk where they're laying in their vomit and put them in the bathtub?
Who do I need to tackle to get off my dad's four-wheeler because they're trying to drunkenly drive it around the yard?
Who do I need to punch to stop pouring beer down the fucking wall?
Good lord.
What toilet do I
Sorry,
need to
Dad.
unclog?
No.
Oh my god. Okay. We won't walk down memory lane right now. This also helps you react to unexpected changes in your situation. People who are better at flexible thinking are often very creative and imaginative. This ability lets them connect concepts and ideas that might not ordinarily seem linked, which also helps with creative problem solving. I think that's something I excel at. Like creative problem solving, and also connecting weird dots.
Hmm.
I ADHD. I also have this really weird innate capability to figure out like the rest of a plot of a movie from foreshadowing, and I think that's
Hmm.
because of that like creative cognitive flexibility.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying and I try not to say anything out loud, but it's also fun to guess and be right and have people know that you're right.
I
I'm
love
also
being
very
right.
competitive. I do. I do. It's bad, but I try not to like rub it in people's faces unless they deserve it.
Hmm.
Speaking of movies and people, can't tell you how many times we're like watching something and there's someone in a show and I'm like, "Oh, I think they were in this like one episode of this older other show." And it's like, "No, I don't." Megan's
Do
like, "No,
that
I don't
all
think
the
that's who it
time.
was." I will go look it up and prove that I'm right. And if I'm wrong, I'll be
Yeah.
like, "Shit, I was wrong." But if I'm right,
Yeah.
I will tell you. Sorry. I try not to be mean about it though.
I was watching, well, I have been rewatching. This is kind of embarrassing, but it's just like my comfort show from when I was younger, but I've been rewatching Pretty Little Liars and I don't did you watch that show? I
I
don't think
have tried
you.
to a couple times, but I kept getting lost. And then the last time you rewatched it, would like 2 years ago,
It's been a long
maybe?
time.
I feel like you rewatched it after you moved back here from Florida.
I think I started to, but I don't think I finished it.
Okay, I
But
think I started to watch it too, so I could talk to you about it, but I stopped.
yeah, it's a ridiculous show and there's so many plot holes and it's so inappropriate because it's basically like a bunch of teenagers making out with grown men, which gross. But
Yeah.
anyways, the reason I brought this up is I don't know if you remember Dr. Sullivan from season 2.
I need more detail.
I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, I guess, but like
Okay.
the actress who played Dr. Sullivan, I was like, I heard her voice and I was like, I know her from somewhere. I recognize her voice from somewhere. And I was sitting there trying to figure it out and I couldn't and it was making me so mad, so I went and found who it was and she was from Haunting of Hill House. She played the caretaker of the house.
Oh,
Mrs. Dudley.
okay. See?
Yeah.
And you make all of those connections.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked about all of that. So now we're going to go into inhibition control. Inhibition control is your
Oh.
ability to steer or manage your thoughts, emotions, and actions. This is a huge part of executive function, and we'd be able. Oh, this is a huge part of executive function, and we'd be unable to control our impulses and thoughts without it. There are two main ways that inhibition control works. Number one is behavioral control. This is your ability to keep yourself from doing things that you think you shouldn't. An example of this is staying silent around an extremely annoying person because you believe in the saying, if you can't say anything nice, then don't say anything at all. For me, this is impulsive thoughts like, oh, reach out and put your hand on the air fryer while it's running and burn yourself. I wonder what that, if that's hotter. Like stupid, like, you know,
Yeah.
um, thought, what's the word? Did I already say the word? Not danger
Did you?
thoughts. There's a word.
Intrusive thoughts.
Intrusive, thank you. I was like danger.
Danger thoughts.
I mean, that's
Let's
really what
change
they are
it.
for me.
I like that one
Like
better.
I don't like spending a lot of time up on high places, especially when there's a ledge, because my brain's like, jump. You want to know what it would be like? And it's not like I want to die or anything, but all the time my brain's like, what if you just jumped off that ledge right now? The fuck?
When I was a kid, I have vivid memories of being in the back of my dad's car and just thinking about either rolling the window down and chucking my iPod out the window or opening the door and jumping out the door as it was moving.
Why? Is it
I
like
don't know.
curiosity? It's
I
ADHD.
have no idea. I don't know.
But behavior control is a little difficult. I would say I'm okay at it a lot of the time, but if someone is like pissing me off, or I don't know, there will be moments where I make jabs and I'm like, why did I say that? I know that wasn't nice. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. That should have never come out of my mouth. But it's like I'm not controlling it at that point. And I'm not saying that's an excuse at all, because it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, what is wrong with me? Even if it was funny to me, it might not be funny to them.
Yeah.
But I've gotten a lot better at it. A lot better in the last, like in my adult years. And okay, so the next part of inhibition control is interference control. This is the ability to steer or manage your thoughts. I have none. It includes focusing on something that needs your attention and ignoring whatever doesn't. Sometimes the attention and focus are outside of your head. Sometimes you have to apply interference control to your own thoughts, which might distract you from whatever needs your attention. That's my case all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think my meds have really helped me with work because I am able to complete those tasks. And I think the fact that it's for work and something I have to do in order to make money to survive is really motivating. But personal things, I have to be like really excited about it. I can be reading
Yeah.
a book actively and a whole other conversation's happening in another like sector of my brain. No idea what I
Same.
just read.
That's why it's so hard for me to read books.
That's I have to be like grabbed and immersed in it immediately to be able
Hmm.
to read it thoroughly. Working memory, cognitive flexibility, and inhibition control are all the foundations of executive function. There are also higher level processes that can happen, which include planning. This is when you mentally map out a series of actions that will help you reach a goal. Reasoning, the ability to apply critical thinking. It's a key way for you to build on your stored knowledge to think creatively or break down something complicated into easier to understand pieces. And problem solving. This function can involve all three main executive functions as well as planning and reasoning. This is how you apply what you know and how you think to overcome obstacles or problems that are in front of you. So, can be very difficult. Personally, I'm really good at this stuff for other people.
Hmm.
My stuff, no.
Yeah.
Not good at it, because I can make the plan. Do you know how many notebooks and planners I have? Thousands.
A
I
lot.
swear to God, I've had so many. I can sit down and write out what I'm going to do, and then that dysfunction comes in. Can't do it. I don't,
Yep.
and a little bit of defiancy. I don't want to do it, especially because I wrote it down. Like, I
Yeah.
would rather do this, so why don't I just do this instead? So, some examples of executive dysfunction, which are affecting all of these different pieces of um, your cognitive function, are being very distractible or having trouble focusing on just one thing. Cannot, no. TV in the background, music in the background, podcasts in the background, something that is going to kind of like quiet all the other thoughts while I focus on one main one.
Yep.
Yep.
I do the same.
Fo- Focusing too much on just one thing, also called hyperfixating or
I do that
hyperfocusing.
all the time.
Same. And mine tend to last for quite some time because
Hmm.
I still love crocheting, don't get me wrong, but I'm not hyperfixated on it quite as much. It's Fortnite now,
Yeah,
which is terrible. Like, crocheting is so much more productive. Anyways, I'm not going to judge myself because it brings me joy and I don't have any kids to take care of, so leave me the fuck alone.
exactly. You can do what you want.
Exactly. Daydreaming or spacing out when you should be paying attention, such as during a conversation, meeting, class, etc. I don't know if I did this a lot as a kid, but I do it a lot as an adult. We'll be in a meeting. If you're not talking about something that relates to me or something I need to know, my brain is elsewhere and I can't help it. But I have to like make sure to like listen for my name to see, oh, are you going to talk to me now? What? Huh? I don't want to
Yeah,
be that. So,
yeah,
do you struggle with that?
yeah, I do. Definitely. Sometimes even on this show, I don't mean to do it, and I'm trying to like keep myself like,
Mm
but sometimes my eyes glaze over and my brain flies away, and I'm like, wait, come back.
hmm. I did not give you permission. No, please don't ever feel bad because I am the exact same way sometimes. Like I we can't help it. We literally cannot help it. And I
Yeah,
want as much as I want to pay attention, my brain has a brain of its own.
yep, mine
Yeah.
too.
And like um I will space out during my own conversations because I'm
Yeah,
trying to like linear conversations are very hard for me. I'm going to find the infographic I'm thinking of, but it's like normal conversation. Here's point A, here's point B. And then like ADHD conversation is like A, B, C, D, E, F. It's like the whole fucking alphabet and all the lines are crossed because I I want to give you all the information to make the story make sense, but I can't
hmm,
piece it together correctly. Like
yeah,
I've always this is really irrational, guys, and I've never done anything that I would be like interrogated for. But if I ever did and I was interrogated, regardless if I was guilty or not, I would be arrested because my story would not seem to make sense because I would be like, "Wait, let me go back to this and no, this happened." Like I am I can never commit a crime, not that I want to, because I will just
so she says.
automatically. I mean, there are a couple, but
You
I won't go into
criminal.
that. Um yeah, I know. Linear anything. Um is affected by that daydreaming. See? Couldn't even finish that thought. I'm like, where the fuck was I going? I don't know. My brain started daydreaming. Oh, one thing that's kind of embarrassing that I do too is I daydream a lot about either things that happened like in the recent past, as in a couple days ago, where I'm like, it could have gone this way, or what if this conversation had happened instead? Or about like the immediate past, like I'll be thinking about something someone said and my response to it and then they're talking again. I'm like, shit, I should have said this, this, and this. And then I'm
Yeah,
lost. I don't know what you were saying because my brain was saying stuff. We How long is this so far?
a little over an hour.
Oh shit. Um we were talking about spacing out and the next example of executive dysfunction and some more because I feel like I need to reintroduce even though no one else was going to notice that there was a gap. Um is trouble planning or carrying out a task because you can't visualize the finished product or goal. And that relates to the cleaning thing because even though, yes, I can visualize my sink not having dishes in it anymore, it's not going to stay that way. There's no
Yeah,
finished project with repetitive tasks or finished product because, like, that's why I'm really good at taking care of the big things, figuring out how to get the new cars, figuring out how to buy the house, getting the laptop, all these different things I can really solve. Like if it's a problem that is solved and done, we're good. If it's a problem that's
yeah,
going to keep repeating, I'm like, can I just eat off of paper plates with plastic silverware all the time? But then I'm like, no, that causes a problem in the landfill. So it's just I'm fucking screwed. Someone come clean my house.
yeah. That's part of the reason why I think that I probably don't want kids, because I don't think I'd ever want to clean because it would immediately get messy again. like 5
Yes.
seconds later, and
Right,
I
and
wouldn't be
you're
able to do
having to
that.
do right, you're having to do that on top of doing all the other things that comes along with kids. And also with kids, once that kid's there, they're
You
there
don't leave them.
forever.
Yeah.
Right. So that is not a problem, quote unquote, that's solved. It's a
Right.
forever thing. And like forever things are cool when it's like a tattoo or like finding the love of your life, but not cool when it means that you're going to have this responsibility that's going to be very time consuming and difficult. Um, Difficulty motivating yourself to start a task that seems difficult or uninteresting. That is one that I struggle with so bad.
Yep.
Task initiation is like,
Initiation.
yes, if I start, that means that I should have the intent of finishing, but I don't know if I'm going to want to. So, like, why even start?
Yeah.
hmm Um, Struggling to move from one task to the other. That's a big one for me. Getting distracted or interrupted partway through a task, causing you to misplace items or lose your train of thought, like leaving your keys in the refrigerator because you wanted a snack, but your hands were full, so you put your keys down inside the refrigerator and forgot them.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yep. I've left my
that's
phone in
with
my
edit.
kitchen cabinets so many times and been like
Mm-hmm.
searching the entire house looking for it.
Yeah, I have no idea how many times I have to pat myself down and like look in my purse before I leave the house because I'm like, okay, I think my keys are in my purse, but did I like put them somewhere else and not remember that I did that because I wasn't existing when I was doing that?
Mhm.
Or there's
Yeah.
I'll have to find them. There's this person on TikTok who posts like he made this. I'm gonna say he. I believe he identifies as male. Found he made this video about how he got a phone call in the middle of doing something and then noticed the trash needed taken out. So he went to the trash can and in his brain he put the trash in the trash can, but instead the trash was still sitting next to him and he put his hammer in the trash can. Like I will literally do things like that and be like, oh, brain backwards, and then have to go fix it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Um, Problems with impulse control. I'm not going to give the example because I don't like it, but I'll give one. Trying to be on a budget and then going and buying something that you didn't actually need because you wanted it.
I do that a lot.
Same, same. Like I'm trying to budget really hard right now and I'm doing halfway decent, but I'm like, "Oh, well, I still have money to cover all of these things that I need, so I can spend this extra $20." And it's like, "Shit, I shouldn't have done that," you know?
Mhm.
Struggling with thinking before you talk, causing you to blurt out the first thing that pops in your head without considering that it might hurt someone's feelings.
Or that it might hurt my own feelings because I wish I never said it and it's embarrassing.
Exactly. That one, even more than anything, is like, why the fuck did I say that?
Mhm.
No one needed to know my life story in the span of 4 minutes.
Yep.
Um, I try not to do the mean one, but I definitely used to, especially when I was young, because hurt people, and B, I didn't understand myself at
Yeah.
all, you know?
Yep.
Um, Having trouble explaining your thought process clearly because you understand it in your head, but putting it into words for others feels overwhelming.
I know exactly what I wanna say in my head, and it sounds beautiful, but when it comes out, I it sounds fucking dumb.
It's gobbledygook. You're like,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
Yep.
all the time. It makes perfect sense to me, but then I start to say it and then it doesn't sound the same when it's coming out of my mouth. And you look at me a little strange and I'm like, oh no, I actually am really fucking stupid and you hate me.
Yep. I do hate
Um,
you.
so now we're going to get a bit into diagnosis. Um, the information I found I think is very good, but I think it can also vary from provider to provider when you're being diagnosed and also person to person and what your symptoms are. So, primary care providers sometimes diagnose and treat ADHD. They may also refer individuals to a mental health professional, such as a psychiatrist or clinical psychologist, who can do a thorough evaluation and make an ADHD diagnosis. For a person to receive a diagnosis of ADHD, the symptoms of inattention and or hyperactivity impulsivity must be chronic or long-lasting, impair the person's functioning, and cause the person to fall behind typical development for their age. Stress, sleep disorders, anxiety, depression, and other physical conditions or illnesses can cause similar symptoms to those of ADHD. That's a big note because although I do believe I've experienced depression in my life, when I started my medication for ADHD, we tapered down my depression meds and then I got off of them because my ADHD was like causing my depression. I didn't
Mhm.
need meds for depression. I needed meds for ADHD to fix the way my brain was working to stop causing that depression because I thought something was wrong with me,
Mhm.
which it is, but just not in a bad way. Therefore, a thorough evaluation is necessary to determine the cause of the symptoms. Now, like I said, I don't necessarily feel like I went through a thorough evaluation. I think I just had enough appointments with that doctor, and then we tried to solve the problems I was having, and they weren't being solved the way that they needed to be. And I expressed something else that I had been feeling. I don't know if I'd ever told
Mhm.
anyone about those toilet thoughts before. And he said, "Oh, I know what that could be." And then we did medication testing.
Mhm.
So, ADHD symptoms can appear as early as between the ages of 3 and 6 and can continue through adolescence and adulthood. Symptoms of ADHD can be mistaken for emotional or disciplinary problems, or missed
Yeah.
entirely in children who primarily have symptoms of inattention, leading to a delay in diagnosis. Adults with undiagnosed ADHD may have a history of poor academic performance, problems at work, or difficult or failed relationships. I would definitely say my performance academically and work related, I always put in my all, but it never seemed like it was enough in work and at school. I just kind of fucking wung it for a long time because I couldn't actually sit and study or pay attention in class. And then when I did college from home, I couldn't fucking do it. So I figured it out, but it, if you ask me about it now,
Yeah.
it would be poor performance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
ADHD symptoms can change over time as a person ages. In young children with ADHD, hyperactivity impulsivity is the most predominant symptom. As a child reaches elementary school, the symptom of inattention may become more prominent and cause the child to struggle academically. In adolescence, hyperactivity seems to lessen, and symptoms may more likely include feelings of restlessness or fidgeting, but inattention and impulsivity may remain. Many adolescents with ADHD also struggle with relationships and antisocial behaviors. Inattention, restlessness, and impulsivity tend to persist into adulthood.
Yep.
So, because I think most of the people that listen to us are adults and we are also adults, I did a little bit more research on adults with ADHD. And there are approximately 10 million adults with ADHD in the world. I would assume primarily in the United States because from what I've heard online and like seen recently online, a lot of other countries don't even think it's an issue for their people or recognize it.
Mhm.
They're like all these US diseases or disorders, like what the fuck are they talking about? Like I'm just a person.
Okay.
I'm just a girl.
I'm just
Um
saying anywhere else I'll be dead.
In early adulthood, ADHD may be associated with depression, mood or conduct disorders, and substance abuse. Couldn't
Yeah.
be me. Um,
No.
no, never.
Never. I've never touched a substance.
No. What's substance?
Who knows?
I,
Tell us in
I
the
don't
comments
know.
below.
Please tell me what your substance is.
Your substance of
Substantize me.
choice.
Yes. What substance are you made of? I'm made
Shit.
of chaos and fucking Haley's made of Cheetos and
Yeah.
mac and cheese. I'm made of currently I'm made of cream puffs and Gatorade Zero. This episode brought to you by. Though it's called adult ADHD, symptoms start in early childhood and continue into adulthood. In some cases, ADHD is not recognized or diagnosed until the person is an adult. ADHD symptoms in adults may not be as clear as those symptoms in children. And in adults, and because in adults, hyperactivity may decrease, but struggles with impulsiveness, restlessness, and difficulty paying attention may continue. Treatment for adult ADHD is similar to treatment for childhood ADHD. Adult ADHD treatment includes medications, psychological counseling, and treatment for any mental health
MILF.
mental health conditions that occur along with ADHD. So, like, I'm an anxious ass bitch, and I think regardless if I was diagnosed or had ADHD, I would be an anxious ass bitch. So, I still do take medication for my anxiety.
Yeah.
Many adults with ADHD aren't aware that they have it. They just know that everyday tasks can be a challenge. Adults with ADHD may find it difficult to focus and prioritize, leading to missed deadlines and forgotten meetings or social plans. The inability to control impulses can range from impatient waiting in line or driving in traffic to mood swings and outbursts of anger. So
Yeah.
yes, I've always had issues with impatience. And I don't think I ever really had outbursts of anger. I would hold them all in and then have outbursts of like sadness where it would just all come out and I would just scream and cry into my pillow because I held it all in.
Mhm.
So, one of the things one of the biggest issues with ADHD diagnosis and the health system is that a lot of things are not and have not been properly studied in people assigned female at birth. Because for the longest time we were seen as second class citizens and less than, and we didn't really matter because all we were there to do was to reproduce and cook. But
Yeah.
things are getting a little bit better, slowly but surely. So I wanted to see what I could find on people on ADHD in people assigned female at birth. So, according to the interwebs, ADHD is more likely to affect people differently depending on sex. Research shows ADHD rates are higher in men and people assigned male at birth, which is research. But I don't think that the sample population they're taking that from is a good
Yeah.
one because, of course, men are more likely to get diagnosed because men are allowed to have outbursts and women are
Yeah, I was
not,
gonna say
because if
it's
they
more
do that,
like
they're
outward.
crazy. Yes, it's more outward, and also physicians are more likely to listen to men than they are to women
Yeah.
because women are just having problems because they're in one of their uh, phases of their period.
Ugh.
Which, if you don't know about the
Ugh.
phases of your period or your menstrual cycle, please go listen to our menstrual cycle episode. Can't remember the
Yes.
number or the title. However, there's evidence that there are more women and people assigned female at birth with ADHD than previously thought. The estimates for how ADHD affects people based on their sex vary. According to most estimates, the male to female ratio is 2 to 1 during childhood. However, some studies estimate that the ratio is as high as 17 to 1. In adulthood, the rates become much more similar because women are more likely to receive this diagnosis as adults. So these stats are just incorrect because it's not about having the condition, it's about being properly diagnosed.
Yeah.
ADHD in people assigned female at birth may be underdiagnosed for a few reasons. Symptom types is the first one. And hyperactive impulse type symptoms, which are more common in people assigned male at birth, are usually easier to notice. That makes it more likely that they will draw attention that leads to diagnosis. So,
Yeah.
how do I say this? Men are seen and heard more, and historically have been allowed to be seen and heard more. So, not only are there symptoms, I think assuming because they were assigned male at birth, I think there's a genetic hormonal component there. They are just diagnosed easier. It just that
Yeah.
is what it is. But I think also because people assigned female at birth and people who are present as women and women in general are conditioned throughout history and throughout life to be sweet and calm and caring and all these things that are assigned to a feminine person. It's just like I can't do these things because I'm not allowed to.
Yeah.
So like if I think back into my childhood, I had a lot of emotional regulation issues. I still cry a lot, but not as much. I cried all the time. I felt like I was never heard because I wasn't, and because I wasn't allowed to be heard.
Yeah, I had a
It
lot
was
of,
either
like,
be
I think I've talked to about it before, but I had a lot of anger issues as a kid, and even
mhm,
now, like, I will get irrationally angry, but I don't, um, act
act
out.
on it the
I just
same.
kind of, like,
Mhm.
I think through it and let it go, but
Yep.
I didn't know how to do it back then.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I got dumped, I literally threw my hairbrush at the wall and it shattered. I mean, I wasn't throwing it at anyone. I got dumped over a text message because I was fucking 15 years old, and that's what happens when you're 15 years old. But it was like there were so many times where I got so angry I had to physically do something about it, and I'm able to not do that anymore or could like do it in a healthier way. But
Yeah,
most of the time I just held it in until I had to like explode with emotions, which most of the time was crying because I was so upset and sad that I couldn't let those emotions out.
yeah,
And also I just cry with all of my emotions, happiness, sadness, anger, whatever it is. It just turns into tears because that felt like the only appropriate way to let it out. And I
mhm,
can do it more privately.
yep,
Yeah. The next reason it goes underdiagnosed in assigned female at birth people is because of bias. Because ADHD is supposedly more common in people assigned male at birth, healthcare providers and educators may not look for the symptoms in people assigned female at birth. That can make it harder for them to receive a correct diagnosis and treatment because you're just fucking crazy, shut your mouth and put in a tampon and get over it. That's
okay.
basically the vibe that it gives me, and I fucking hate it. There is much less available research on ADHD in people assigned female at birth. Early ADHD research mainly focused on the condition's effects. I won't even say mainly, I'd like to correct this and said only focused on the condition's effects in people assigned male at birth. And that's why ADHD research specific to people assigned female at birth is years, centuries, decades fucking behind.
Yeah, that's infuriating.
There are also criteria flaws. Some experts argue that the writing of the current criteria for being diagnosed with ADHD is less helpful or accurate for diagnosing people who were assigned female at birth. Yes, because it was only studied in men. I mean, I might have said
Yeah,
this in the show before, but I recently learned that the people who developed tampons were men, and they tested tampons with water. Like think about a tampon commercial. When they show how much it expands, what do they put it in?
yeah,
Blue water.
water, yeah,
Water and menstrual blood are not the same consistency. So of course tampons don't fucking work.
yeah.
Also, a vaginal canal is round. Why does it expand this way instead of the whole way? Don't even I'm I'm going off on a tangent. But anyways, there are also, of course, stereotypes about sex, gender, and behavior. Especially hyperactive impulsive symptoms are often considered more socially acceptable for people assigned male at birth. As a result, people assigned female at birth may suppress or hide ADHD behaviors to fit in better. Do you know
Because they gotta
how
conform
valid
and
it
be
because
submissive.
Yep, exactly. Like, but the validation I felt reading this stuff from like very reputable places was so nice because of course I'd heard it and I knew it in my head, but like the fact that they're figuring it out is like,
Yeah.
holy shit, finally. But it needs to
Yeah.
expand into other parts of the medical industry. Again, we'll try not to go into that.
Yeah.
So, assigned female at birth people with ADHD have higher risks of the following: being a target of bullying, both in person and cyberbullying. Oh, Peewit, tell Will Handsome, bring him to the show. Hims deserves to be famous. Come hither, my boy.
I thought he had a sweater on at first because he looked
You thought he had what?
green. A sweater.
No. I should make you a sweater, huh? Would you like to be free? I want to break free. Okay, so again, being a target of bullying, both in person and cyberbullying, experienced both of these. Why? Because I was fucking strange and a little obsessive, but that still didn't mean that I deserved to be harassed or bullied.
No.
And this next one's a big one, and it didn't have a ton of details. So I went and found as many details as I could because this is one of, I would say, actually my biggest struggle with ADHD. And it is emotional control issues, especially rejection sensitive dysphoria.
Yeah.
Do you experience that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go into it more, but I experience it with every single person in my life. I could say to you, "Hey, I need to take a break and not record tonight." And you're like, "That's fine." And I know here that you're serious, but the other side of my brain is like, "She is so fucking disappointed in you. You're a failure. She doesn't want to have you as a best friend anymore." I have to like work through that and not I'm recording. And not like spiral out of
I'm recording.
control. She was giving the cats treats, so that's okay. I was also just being a turd. So, rejection sensitive dysphoria, also coined RSD, is when you experience severe emotional pain because of a failure or feeling rejected. This condition is linked to ADHD, and experts suspect it happens due to differences in brain structure. Those differences mean your brain can't regulate rejection related emotions and behaviors, making them much more intense. While rejection is something people usually don't like, the negative feelings that come with RSD are stronger and can be harder to manage, or they're both. Like, I don't know why it was written like that, but they're stronger and can be harder to manage. People with RSD are more likely to interpret vague interactions as rejection and may find it difficult to control their reactions. So, the reaction thing has always been hard for me. I've gotten better at it, but still to this day, like, hey, is it okay if this? Yeah, that's fine. Is it fine or is it okay? I need to know because my brain, if here's it's fine and it's fine. You know what I mean? Tone's a big thing too,
Yep, definitely.
but I need concrete answers from you. And if I don't get those, especially because most of the time I know that you're not giving me the answer that you have, you're giving me an answer you want me to have, I will be like, "Oh my god, the world is crashing down. You secretly hate me. You're just doing this to please me. You want me to go away." It just goes on and on.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
definitely
something I
deal with
have
that
to
too.
yeah, I have to very clearly communicate that with people. And if they can't do that for me, that friendship, relationship, whatever it is, probably is not going to go very far or is going to be extremely tumultuous.
Mhm. Definitely.
Yeah. RSD is different from regular rejection sensitivity. People can experience rejection sensitivity, which is linked to emotional dysregulation, which happens when your brain can't properly regulate the signals related to your emotions. Basically, your emotions are too loud for you to manage, causing overwhelm, discomfort, and sometimes even pain. Symptoms and signs of RSD include feeling severe anxiety or other negative emotions before an anticipated reaction.
Yep.
That's a big one for me too. Yep. Having trouble seeing non positive interactions, such as neutral or vague interactions, as anything but rejection and reacting accordingly. So, like, again, if it's not confirmation that seems positive, if it's vague or seems negative in any way, it is like a bomb exploding in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I love clear communication.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah. Touch. Um, overreact. We'll just touch on that a little bit. Yeah. Overreacting to feelings of rejection, leading to behavior that reflects negative emotions like anger, rage, extreme sadness, severe anxiety, etc. I'm sorry, I kind of messed up a little bit ago. That was more of rejection sensitivity. But rejection sensitive dysphoria is also signaled by those, but the difference is that RSD makes the feelings more intense and the emotional pain causes a much higher level of overwhelm. That pain usually has to be triggered by rejection or disapproval. However, people with RSD often have difficulty describing what it feels like because it's so intense and unlike other forms of pain, emotional or otherwise. Like for me, rejection feels like someone is ripping my chest open and there's just a black hole.
Yeah.
It's very similar to a feeling of grief, but different in the way that like it's not a loss. It's actively happening. There's a cat here.
I would describe it as like kind of going through a breakup, honestly, but you're not actually in a relationship with the person.
Right. It's like that overwhelming world ending. I like again, can't, it's so hard to describe, but I
Yeah.
agree. It's very much like that pain of
Yeah.
something huge happening, but it's everything.
Yeah.
Every form of rejection.
Yeah.
People with RSD often show the following traits and behaviors. It's very easy for them to feel embarrassed or self-conscious every day of my life. I can be embarrassed
Mm-hmm.
home by myself.
Yep.
They show signs of low self-esteem and trouble believing in themselves.
Yep.
Yep. They have trouble containing emotions when they feel rejected. This is often noticeable in children and teenagers with this condition. Some may react with sudden shows of anger or rage, while others may burst into tears.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Instead of losing control of their emotions outwardly, some people with RSD may turn their feelings inward. This can look like a snap onset of severe depression, and sometimes it's mistaken for sudden emotional shifts that can happen with bipolar disorder or borderline personality disorder. I
I think
actually
that's what
thought
I
for a
do.
long time that I had BPD. Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I have had people in my life explode on me so many times and take their emotions out on me instead of directing them where they need to, that I developed the capability to not do that, but then it just turned into turning it inward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, which is, I mean, neither is great, but it's an experience we live. So it's like, what can we do?
Yeah. Right.
I just try to reject harm, or not reject, reduce harm to other people because it's my issue,
Yeah.
not theirs.
Exactly.
Um, People with RSD are often people pleasers and become intensely focused on avoiding the disapproval of others.
Yep.
Thinking someone doesn't like me, or they thought something I said was stupid, or they like think I'm weird or get like a bad vibe from me is my worst fear every single fucking day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Same.
people always tell me that I'm likable and whatnot, and I don't think so because of everything in my brain. But when something happens and I get the vibe that someone doesn't like me, or like a breakup happens or a friendship breakup, whatever, so that person might have negative feeling towards me and might tell other people something bad about me. It scares me to death because they're not actually knowing who I am, but also the rejection part of it is like, holy shit, I'm going to lose everyone in my life.
Yeah.
So stupid.
It's fun.
Because rationally, I understand that that doesn't make any sense. But there are many parts to my brain, and one of them is irrationality, and it's a bitch. Like, can someone lobotomize me, Papa? That's what this is going to be called. Take out that part of my brain so I just do not care if people like me or not, because that's one of my biggest struggles my entire life.
I don't want to be lobotomized.
I don't, but I do. Like, and I think part of that for me also stems from like childhood because my dad is the type of person who like everyone likes and gets along with, and like he's a popular person, and I always aspired to be like him. So if people didn't like me, I felt like I was failing at that, and that just like carried right along.
Mm.
And then of course TV and movies where it was like you had to be popular to be important or anything worth anything, even though most of the time the
Yeah.
moral of the story was no, but who wants to go through all of that? Not me, but did I?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Indeedy doodly do. They may avoid starting projects, tasks, or goals where there's a chance of failure.
Yeah.
If I'm not good at something immediately, do you think I'm going to keep doing it? Probably not.
Nah.
Nah, why would I do that? I need to be perfect at everything the first time or I'm a failure. So I just say, no, I don't like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I might have liked it if I had given it a chance.
Probably would have.
Fucking, it just pisses me off. Um, They compensate for their feel of failure or rejection by going all out or striving for perfectionism. However, the downside of this is that they often experience intense anxiety and may not easily make self care or downtime a priority.
Yep.
Literally, my entire fucking life. Like, I feel like I'm being dramatic in a way by saying all of this, but especially when I was a kid, my perfectionism and my people pleasing was so bad. Like, so bad, and the more people I had in my life, the more severe it got because I wanted to
I
make
mean,
everyone
like,
happy at the same time.
even when you and I started hanging out, like, you were, I mean, I was too, but you were definitely like a huge people pleaser to the point where like you were going out of your way to do stuff for people who weren't really appreciative of it and were kind of doing it to just use you in a way, it felt like.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Oh, for sure. And realizing that is really hurtful because some of those people were like people I thought were my friends,
Yeah.
and in their own way maybe I was, but it was really just to get something out of it. And there's people like that all over, and I've gotten really good at like scoping them out. But I think
Right.
even people currently in my life sometimes take advantage of my kindness. And I thoroughly enjoy being kind. I like making people's lives easier, even if it makes mine harder, unfortunately. But to see the relief on someone's face or the joy on someone's face when I do something nice for them is so fulfilling to me. And
Mhm.
when people don't give that back or don't seem appreciative. I'm not saying I need something from them. I don't do things for other people to get something back. I'm not trading and bartering. I'm doing it because I want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes, though, it's like it would be nice to get some of that back in other ways. And it doesn't have to be the same day. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be you sending me a picture of a dog because it dogs make me think of you, or when people send me crochet videos and stuff because it makes me think of them. Just knowing that or makes them think of me, just knowing that they're thinking of me makes me happy because I'm most likely thinking about them too,
Yeah.
or have at least a little bit that day or that week or whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
it's like it's so debilitating, dude.
Yeah.
It's getting a lot better, and I think keeping my circle smaller has really helped by finding
Definitely.
genuine people. And also setting boundaries with my family members, I think, has been a big one. And also, like, telling them, like, hey, a lot of the time I don't feel like leaving my house. I don't want to do this. You acting like this stresses me out, so I don't want to come around, and being honest and open, regardless if it might have like hurt their feelings in some way, because setting my own boundaries has been really hard, but it's also or been really helpful, but it's also really hard
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm disappointing them. Like tomorrow we're going out to lunch for my aunt's birthday. My mom was like, "Can you bring this coffee table that's at my house over to Chloe's apartment tomorrow too?" I said, "No. We've already got something to do tomorrow. I don't want to add something else." And I'm like, "Is that bitchy of me?" No. Because why is it my responsibility to do all of these things?
No,
It's
it's
not.
not.
It's just that I'm too nice, and that leads people to have certain expectations.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, intense anxiety and not easily making self-care or downtime a priority. I don't feel like I ever have downtime because even if I'm playing Fortnite, my brain is thinking about what I'm ignoring to play Fortnite, and if I'm doing something
Mhm.
else, I'm thinking about the next thing that needs to be done. And if I could just have no tasks every day, I'd probably be the happiest person alive.
Yeah, that's
But
the
that will
dream
never
life.
happen, so I need to be realistic
Yeah.
and also stop packing myself with stuff to do, but I have problems, guys, if you couldn't already tell. Assigned female at birth people with ADHD also have higher risks of learning related difficulties such as dyslexia and dyscalculia,
Mhm.
which makes sense. Physical
Yeah.
symptoms related to mental health, such as headaches, stomach aches, fatigue, trouble sleeping, etc. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and also just like digestion issues in general. Related mental health conditions like anxiety and depression. Self injury behaviors such as cutting, nail biting, skin picking, etc. Did I not start the top of this episode saying I love to pick my skin?
Yes. And I also used to self-harm
Same.
pretty heavily.
Yeah. Which is so fucking sad. Like, I want to go back and smack myself, but also, like, hug myself.
Yeah. I think it's been like 11 years, I think. Maybe more than that.
That's awesome. That makes me really happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think that you stopped before we met.
I think so. I think so. I don't remember exactly when I stopped. I think I just kind of like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. No, but I'm very proud of you and happy for you and glad that we both don't do that because it doesn't actually help, even if it felt like it helped in the moment.
Exactly.
Yes. And also trouble forming and maintaining friendships and relationships. People assigned female at birth commonly mask the symptoms of ADHD to better fit in.
Yeah, especially in adulthood, I have such a hard time making friends because I think that everybody who shows an interest in me actually hates me and doesn't want to be around me. So,
Yeah. Why are we like this? It's not
even
fair.
though they
Sometimes I think,
even though they like straight up like seek me out for like time together, they like reach out to me and they're
yep,
like, "Hey, I miss you, want to hang out?" And I'm like, "Oh, why? I thought you hated me."
they probably feel obligated and are just trying to be nice to me because I'm really super fucking
Exactly.
annoying and everyone hates me so much. I even think that about you sometimes, dude. And we've been
That's
best friends
never
for
been true.
10 years and you have exactly. Even when we had that tiny falling out, neither of us hated each other. We just were going through
No.
shit. Like
Yeah.
uh, I hate to think about that because it makes my heart hurt. um but
We were young
like I my
and I
my
was
brain we
mad.
were yeah, it was that was a bad time in life for both of us in
Indeed.
similar and different ways.
Indeed.
Um, but yeah, that feeling like people just actually secretly hate me but don't want to say it or are saving up to like get me one day, like Ashton Kutcher but
Ugh.
not fun. Well, and that's I
Yeah.
was bullied like that a lot in school too, so that lived on like people acting like they liked me or whatever and then like embarrassing me in front of shit tons of people. Trauma. So we are almost done. I'm going to try to run through this last part pretty quickly um,
Okay.
because we're probably what, at like 2 hours at this point?
Hour 40 minutes, 44 minutes.
Okay. So treatment for ADHD. This is self-help for adult ADHD. Um, Armed with an understanding of ADHD's challenges and the help of structured strategies, you can make real changes in your life. Many adults with ADHD have found meaningful ways to manage their symptoms, take advantage of their gifts, and lead productive and satisfying lives. You don't necessarily need outside intervention, at least not right away. There's a lot you can do to help yourself and get your symptoms under control. Exercise and eat healthfully. Now, this is everyone says this over and over, and it's kind of cliche, but it really is helpful for a lot of mental health disorders. Um, Exercise helps work off excess energy and aggression in a positive way while soothing and calming the body. And I would like to also correct that and say movement, not exercise. I think exercise has a very negative connotation to it. I think
Yeah,
movement is what it needs. Move your body, whether that be walking, rolling around on the floor, yoga, dancing, whatever it is that makes you feel good.
right.
Um, Eat a wide variety of foods and try to limit sugary foods to in order to even out mood swings. Sugar does affect your mood, and like because of the way it raises your blood sugar levels and such, it can affect your mood and your energy is the word I was looking for. So um and also healthy foods, not really a big fan of that, but a wide variety of foods is important to get different nutrients and such. um Try to get plenty of sleep. When you're tired, it's even more difficult to focus. Try to manage stress, stay productive, and keep on top of your responsibilities. I really want to laugh because this is so much easier said than done.
Yeah,
um Try to turn your screens off at least 1 hour before bed. Sorry, can't do that. And try to
nope.
get between 7 and 9 hours of sleep every night.
Sorry, can't
I'm
do
aiming
that
for
every
7 at
night.
this point, yeah. Practice better time management, set deadlines for everything, even for seemingly small tasks. Okay, I'm going to set that deadline, and if it's a seemingly small task and doesn't actually fucking matter right now, I'm probably going to procrastinate it until the last moment and get it all done the night before. Honestly, I
Yep.
understand what these people are saying, and these tips are very useful if you can do them. But a
Hmm.
lot of people can't. Honestly, I've tried so many different things. I just can't. So I just manage my expectations of who I am
Yeah,
instead of trying to manage things about me that I can't.
right.
Use timers and alarms to stay on track. That does help me. If I'm like, okay, I can sit here and scroll on my phone for 30 more minutes and then I have to go up or get up at that 30-minute mark, I'll set myself a timer and go do dishes for 15 minutes and get as many done as I can. I have successfully done that much. Most of the time, I end up finishing them because I'm like, I'm already up. Why would I go sit down and start this whole process over again? That's one really
Hmm.
useful thing. Take breaks at regular intervals. Yes. Let yourself, again, set your timer for 15 minutes, do the thing. If you're really fucking hating it and you want to just like melt into the floor, stop doing it. It's okay.
Yeah, you
They're
don't have to
not
force
dishes,
yourself.
especially with like cleaning, it's not going to go anywhere.
Uh-huh.
Um, Prioritize time sensitive tasks. That's a big one because like if you need to make sure that your car payment is paid or your electric bill is paid, do those first because those are important for commuting to work, living, having a certain life. Um, Make yourself call those three places or get online to pay those three bills and fuck the dishes for that day. The dishes will be there, but if your shit gets turned off, it's going to turn into a bigger problem.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Write things down. That's a big one. Find something to write them down on that you will keep. I have to make a lot of notes on my phone
Me
because
too.
my phone will always be with me. I
Yeah.
will literally the other day I wrote down our recording our recording plans, and then went to find my agenda that I wrote them down in the other night and couldn't find it. I found it eventually, but like make sure you have these things where you can access them easily.
Yes.
This one, I don't know how I feel. Work on your relationships. Schedule activities with friends and keep your engagements. Stay vigilant in conversation and online communication. Listen when others are speaking and try not to speak too quickly yourself. Cultivate
That's
relationships
easier
with
said
people
than
who are
done.
exactly like you can, of course, you can work on all of this, but you have to have people around you that are okay with you working on it, but also don't change yourself. Having ADHD is a part of what makes you you and gives you so many gifts. So don't mask so much that it kills you because
Yeah.
I masked for so long in my life that I did not develop a sense of who I was until maybe in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult. Also, schedule activities with friends and keep your engagements.
Sometimes
Yes,
I don't feel
but
like it.
also right. And also, if you schedule something with a friend and you don't want to go last minute, that's okay. And you should have people in your life and friends in your life that are okay with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, Create a supportive work environment. Make frequent use of lists, color coding reminders, notes to self, rituals, and files. Choose work that motivates and interests you if possible. Notice how and when you work best and apply these conditions to your work environment. This one's a big one. Yes. I to create my budget, I made a spreadsheet that's color coded. And I fill that thing out religiously every paycheck. And it's helped me so much because it makes sense to me. Basically,
Mhm.
do what you can to make your life easier as you are now. Don't try to
Yeah.
change yourself. If you're harming of others, that's something you should think about and try to fix, but don't try like to fix yourself to fit the world.
Yeah.
You're not don't like if you're not a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. Don't trim yourself down to fit in that round hole. You're a person trying to fit into a world that was not designed for you. So if you are able to design your world around you and what makes your life easier, there's nothing wrong with that. Efficiency is efficiency regardless of how you get there.
Mhm. I agree.
I'm feeling very smart right now, which is weird, but don't I'm going to cut that out cuz I don't want people to think that I'm smart. Um um Practice mindfulness. This can be hard, but sometimes meditation can help. Try meditating for a short period and increase the time as you get more comfortable with the process. I've meditated a few times. It can be hard, but there's been a few times where it was really nice for me, where I just kind of let myself go into it. Again, everything on these lists is easier said than done. Um, and this last one I think is really important. Blame the ADHD, not yourself.
Mhm.
Adults diagnosed with ADHD often blame themselves for their problems or view themselves in a negative light. This can lead to self esteem issues, anxiety, and depression. But it's not your fault that you have ADHD, and while you can't control how you're wired, you can take steps to compensate for your weaknesses and learn to flourish in all areas of your life. And I think that
Mhm.
that's something that should be said about everything in life. We were not all designed to be the same. And the fact that there are so many things structured in our society that people need to fit into this box to be good enough at something or for something is just so fucked up. Like you are good enough the way that you are as long as you are not hurting other people. I will say that until I run out of breath, until I take my last breath.
Mhm.
As long as you are not harming others, you are doing good.
Yeah, or yourself.
Yes, yes. If as long as they're exactly like it's okay that you are struggling and it sucks and it's hard, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you deserve to reach that light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm. Agreed.
Yes. So to wrap this all up, when when is it time to seek that outside help? If you've tried other things and you just can't seem to figure it out, it's time to seek support if you're able to. That could be online forums, a doctor, talking to someone in your life, whatever that may be. You can go to behavioral coaching, individual therapy, self help groups, vocational counseling, educational assistance, medication. Um, it should you should try to involve professionals if you can. That doesn't necessarily mean paid professionals. There might be other resources out there where you can get help that is online from professionals. Read articles, do what you can with your means. Reach out to us, comment on our shit. Other people may say the same shit. Join Facebook groups. People in Facebook groups will validate you probably more than everyone in your life has ever validated you, because we are all living the same experience at different points and different places. Honestly, the amount of shit I've seen where I'm like, I'm not the only one who does that is incredible.
Yeah.
And it's so validating, because I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I'm fucking stupid, crazy, weird, whatever for this. And then I see it online. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not the only one who has to eat the last piece of cereal in pairs or threes so no one feels left out.
Yep.
Like,
I do that too.
you are not alone. And in my notes I have all of the sources for all this information if you'd like to go back and read it or look into it more. But I'm also going to post some hotlines and support lines for the US, UK, Australia, Canada, and India. That's all I found from these sites, but if I can find more, I will. And yeah, that is what I have on ADHD. And as you can tell, we both have ADHD because this episode is almost 2 hours long. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you. I really deep dived on this one because I was like, I need to understand myself better, and I hope I can help other people understand themselves and their loved ones better, because I don't think a lot of people know, especially for the people assigned female at birth in their lives, because most people don't present with those hyperactivity behaviors.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that on ADHD. Do you have anything else to add, Haley?
I do not.
Okay.
You said everything I would have said. So.
See, we're all living the same fucking experience. And I just talk so much. But this is a podcast, so.
I mean, yeah.
What were you going to say?
Is preferred. I don't know.
Yeah. You were like, yeah. But I'd love to hear your experiences with ADHD, or what you thought of this episode. If you had a light bulb go off, whatever. I want to hear all your shit. Just tell me. Trauma dump in our inbox. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't do that. We might not be mentally prepared, but we are here for you if we can help.
Indeed.
And you can do that on social media, which is Instagram at Educate Me Papa, Facebook at Instagram. Nope.
Facebook at Instagram.
Facebook, which is Educate Me Papa - the podcast. TikTok, Educate Me Papa, and our email is educatemepapa@gmail.com. We hope to hear from you soon.
Yeah, what the fuck?
That was violent. So
yeah, I'm doing a hometown story for the next episode. So
I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Next, just leave our podcast open on your phone until next week.
Yes.
Just re-listen to all of our episodes.
Yes, do it.
Yes. Well, we will see you then. And as always, we would like to thank you for listening. 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 Squirrel. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
Being a friend. Thank you for being a listener. Thank you for listening. My face is in such a weird spot.
All right,
slapped a little bit like Goofy. Oh, look! Oh, you look! Frankie from the Basement Yard does that so perfectly. I'm like, teach me.
All right. See you next time, friends. Toodaloo.
See you. Thanks for listening. Love you. Bye.
Bye.